Right, so it is day 45 of my tree planting challengey thing, and I don't want to go too far from the house because we have a fairly sick dog at the moment, and so I just want to stay close enough that I can keep a bit of an eye on him. So let's get on with it. Today's planting is going in what is in theory lawn, and in that lawn I have what is in theory a line of citrus, but there is a spot right in the middle of that, and I like to break up lines of the same tree anyway, so I have put between citrus, I put, for example, a persimmon and a loquat and a peach within the line, because you can plant fruit trees much closer if you have mixed species rather than same species, and so then between an archie tree and what I think is a Washington navel, I'm putting in the porous patch of soil where it's just a little bit too bright for most citrus here. I'm going to be putting in a mango tree. Now this variety is not my favourite variety with the very long seed, which you may be able to see in the video. This is one of the ladyfinger types. I'm not entirely sure which variety it is. It's one of the ones that was here before I was born. It is a fairly perfumey variety with no real fibre. I don't particularly like it because I'm not a big fan of that perfumey taste. And it also doesn't keep very well, and it's not very good for drying in my experience, whereas the sort of yellow local variety, which is obviously not native locally but is very widely grown locally, is my favourite because it's got that tartness and that fibrousness makes it really a good one for drying. But anyway, so this one going in, I can't put anything too big with it because again this is supposed to be lawn, and despite the chicken's best efforts I'm trying to rehabilitate it more towards something that looks vaguely lawn-like and less like a dust bowl in the dry season. So rather than putting a Garcinia to shade this little one while it's still tender, I'm going to be putting in some bamboo canes with their leaves still on. So these shouldn't root. This variety I've never managed to root from stem cutting. Other people do, but they have gardens that are watered much more vigorously than ours is. So even if these do start to take now, when it goes down to a weekly watering during the dry season, that should make sure that these don't become an issue here. With that, I'm going to be putting in an Aloe, which is one I quite often put along with these fruit trees, so we should end up with a nice line of flowering under the trees. It'll also, as the leaves drop off these bamboo canes, it'll provide a little extra shelter. I'm putting it to the north, which will be where the heat of the sun is as we dry out in winter. At the end of winter, as it heats up, it'll still be dry and still be very sunny, but hopefully by then this tree will be a little bit more established and be able to tolerate the direct sunlight itself. I'm also putting in some Cotyledon Dombeya and some Flaming Katie, the Kalanchoe blossfeldiana, which should be a nice little chemical barrier and again more attractive flowers to be in this line of fruit trees on the edge of the lawn. But yeah, so that should be everything for today. So tune in tomorrow when hopefully I will have news about a happy, healthy dog who has been feeling much better.